The stars looked peaceful from the bridge of the Velthari patrol ship. Commander Taemin watched the endless darkness through the main screen. His ship moved slowly along the border of the Forbidden Zone. For 3,000 years, no ship had crossed this invisible line in space. "Commander, we are getting strange readings again," said Dr. Hyojin from her station. She was the ship's science officer. Her green skin showed she was nervous. "The energy coming from the Sol system is much stronger than yesterday." Taemin walked over to look at her screen. Numbers and charts filled the display. He could not understand most of it, but he knew when something was wrong. "What kind of energy?" "I do not know. Our computers cannot identify it. It is like nothing in our databases." Hyojin touched the screen with her long fingers. "Commander, what if the humans are not sleeping anymore? What if they have been building things all this time?" The question made Taemin feel cold. Every child in the galaxy knew the stories about humans. They were the species that could turn stars into weapons. They were the ones who made planets disappear. Long ago, humans had fought a war that nearly destroyed half the galaxy. After the war ended, they had gone back to their home system and never came out again. The Galactic Council had made a law, the most important law in the galaxy. Never go near the Sol system. Never wake up the humans. Let them sleep forever. "The humans went to sleep 3,000 years ago," Taemin said, but his voice did not sound sure. They wanted to be left alone. The council promised to leave them alone. "But what if they never went to sleep? What if they just stopped talking to us?" Hyojin asked. Before Taemin could answer, his communication officer spoke up. "Commander, we have a message from Admiral Wu-sung of the Dominion Fleet." Taemin felt his stomach drop. Admiral Wu-sung was known throughout the galaxy as a warrior who did not like rules. He commanded the largest fleet in the Dominion Empire. If Wu-sung was near the Forbidden Zone, nothing good would happen. "Put him on screen," Taemin ordered. The main screen changed. Admiral Wu-sung appeared. He was a tall alien with blue skin and 4 arms. His uniform was covered with medals. His eyes were hard and angry. "Commander Taemin," Wu-sung said, "I see your small patrol ship is doing its job. Still guarding empty space like a good little soldier." "Admiral, we are following council orders. This area is forbidden to all ships," Taemin replied. Wu-sung laughed. It was not a nice sound. "Council orders. Do you know how old those orders are, Commander? 3,000 years. Do you think the council members who made those orders are still alive?" "The law is still the law, Admiral." "The law is stupid," Wu-sung said. His 4 hands moved as he talked. "We are afraid of stories. Old stories about humans who died long ago. I have studied the records, Commander. The humans were strong once, but that was 3,000 years ago. Do you know what happens to a species that stops fighting for 3,000 years? They become weak. They become soft." Taemin knew he should end this conversation. Wu-sung was talking about breaking the most sacred law in the galaxy, but he was curious. "What are you planning, Admiral?" "I am planning to end this foolishness. My fleet will enter the Sol system. We will see what is really there. I think we will find dead planets and old ruins. Maybe some primitive humans living in caves. The galaxy has been scared of nothing for 3,000 years. Admiral, you cannot do this. The Council will stop you." "The Council is weak just like you," Wu-sung said. "They sit in their meeting rooms and talk. They do not act, but I act. My fleet is already moving toward the Forbidden Zone." The screen went dark. Taemin stood in silence for a moment. Then he turned to his communication officer. "Contact Council Ambassador Jiwoo immediately. Priority 1 message." While he waited, Taemin thought about the old stories. His grandmother had told him about the human war. She said the humans did not fight like other species. They did not just try to win battles. They tried to end wars completely. When humans fought, their enemies did not just lose. Their enemies stopped existing. The stories said humans could make weapons out of anything. They turned asteroids into bombs. They used gravity like a sword. They could make suns explode. But those were just stories, right? Ambassador Jiwoo appeared on the screen. She was an old alien with silver skin and wise eyes. She had lived long enough to remember the time before the human war. "Commander Taemin, what is so urgent?" she asked. "Ambassador Admiral Wu-sung is planning to enter the Sol system. He says he wants to prove the humans are no longer dangerous." Jiwoo's face went pale. Her hands shook. "No, he cannot do this. Does he not understand what will happen? He thinks the humans are weak now. He thinks they are dead or primitive." "The humans are not dead," Jiwoo said quietly.
"And they are not weak.
Commander, I was alive during the human war. I saw what they could do. The stories you have heard are not stories. They are history, but they went away. They stopped fighting. They have been quiet for 3,000 years. They went away because they won, Jiwoo said. They won so completely that they scared themselves. They chose to leave the galaxy alone. But that does not mean they became weak. That means they became responsible. What should I do? Try to stop Wusong. Use any means necessary. If he enters that system, if he wakes up the humans, the galaxy will burn again. The connection ended. Taemin looked at his crew. They were all watching him with scared eyes. Dr. Hyojin was reading her instruments again. Commander, she said in a soft voice, the energy readings from Sol are getting stronger. Much stronger? How much stronger? Strong enough to power 1,000 cities. And it is still growing. Taemin felt fear growing in his chest. Maybe the humans had not been sleeping. Maybe they had been building. Maybe they had spent 3,000 years becoming something even more dangerous. He tried to contact Admiral Wusong again, but got no answer. The Dominion fleet was already moving toward the Sol system. Soon they would cross the line that no one had crossed in 3,000 years. Set course for the nearest council station, Taemin ordered. Maximum speed. Should we follow Admiral Wusong? Asked his pilot. No, Taemin said. We should get as far away from here as possible. If the stories are true, if the humans wake up, we do not want to be anywhere near this place. As his ship turned away from the forbidden zone, Taemin looked back at the dark space that hid the Sol system. Somewhere in that darkness, humans might be stirring. Somewhere in that darkness, the greatest warriors in galactic history might be opening their eyes for the first time in 3,000 years. Admiral Wusong thought he was going to find weakness. Instead, he might have just made the biggest mistake in galactic history. He might have just broken the one rule that kept the galaxy safe, the rule that said, never wake up the humans. Captain Dongwu was drinking coffee in his office on Mars Colony when the alarm started screaming. He had been reviewing mining reports, thinking about how boring his job was. The Deep Space Monitoring Station rarely detected anything interesting. Ships did not come to the Sol system anymore. Captain, you need to see this, called Lieutenant Bo-Ra from the communication center. Her voice was shaking. Dongwu walked quickly to the main control room. The walls were covered with screens showing space around their solar system. Most of the screens usually showed empty darkness. Today they showed something else. What am I looking at? Dongwu asked. Alien ships, sir. A whole fleet of them. They are crossing the barrier zone right now. Bo-Ra pointed at one of the screens. These signals are not like anything in our old records. This is a new species. Dongwu felt his heart beating faster. No alien ship had entered the Sol system for 3,000 years. The last time aliens came here, half the galaxy had burned in the war that followed. How many ships? At least 50, sir. Maybe more. They are big ships, Captain. Warships. Send a priority message to Earth immediately. Contact Director Subin at the Defense Initiative. Tell her the barrier has been broken. While Bo-Ra sent the message, Dongwu studied the alien fleet on his screens. The ships were strange-looking. They had curved hulls and seemed to glow with their own light. They moved in formation like they owned the space around them. Sir, we are getting a response from Earth, Bo-Ra said. Director Subin wants to talk to you directly. The main screen changed to show Director Subin. She was a middle-aged woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. She looked calm, but Dongwu could see worry on her face. Captain Dongwu, confirm what you told us. Alien ships have entered our system? Yes, Director. A large fleet. They crossed the barrier 15 minutes ago. They are heading toward the inner planets. Have they tried to communicate with us? No, Director. They are just flying through our space like they own it. Subin was quiet for a moment. Then she spoke again. Captain, I am activating Protocol 7. You know what that means. Dongwu felt cold. Protocol 7 had not been used for 3,000 years. It meant Earth was preparing for war. Director, are you sure? Maybe these aliens are just explorers. Maybe they do not know about our history. Captain, no species enters this system by accident. The whole galaxy knows the Sol system is forbidden. If they are here, they came here on purpose. Subin looked directly at him through the screen. Protocol 7 is now active. All defense systems are coming online. Mars Colony is now a military base. The connection ended. Dongwu looked around the control room. His small crew was staring at him with wide eyes. None of them had ever lived through a war. None of them had ever seen alien ships. Bora, contact all the mining stations. Tell them to stop work and return to base immediately. Sir, what about the civilian transports? There are passenger ships traveling between Earth and Jupiter. The Defense Initiative will handle them. Our job is to watch these aliens and report what they do. On Earth, Director Subin stood in a room deep underground. The room had been built 3,000 years ago during the last war. It had been empty and dark for all that time. Now it was full of light and activity. Dr. Kyung-ho, what do we know about these aliens? Subin asked. Dr. Kyung-ho was the head of the Xenobiology division. He was a thin man with thick glasses. He had spent his whole life studying old records of alien species. He never thought he would see living aliens. Director, their ships match some old records from the Dominion Empire. The Dominion was one of the powers that fought against us in the old war. But these ships are much more advanced than the old records show. So they have been building better weapons for 3,000 years. What else? Their communication systems are very sophisticated. They are sending coded messages to somewhere outside our system. They are reporting to someone. Subin walked to a large window that showed the Earth's surface. All around the planet, things were happening that had not happened for 3,000 years. Hidden doors were opening in mountains. Structures that looked like buildings were changing shape and becoming weapons platforms. Ships that had been disguised as space stations were revealing their true purpose. Dr. Kyung-ho, how long until our defense systems are fully active? 6 hours, Director. The asteroid bases need time to warm up their reactors. And our ships? The first squadron will be ready in 2 hours. The full fleet will be ready in 12 hours. Subin nodded. Send a message to the Galactic Council. Tell them that aliens have invaded human space. Tell them we are responding according to the old treaties. Director, should we try to talk to the aliens first? Maybe we can solve this peacefully. Dr. Kyung-ho, they invaded our home. They broke a 3,000-year-old agreement. There is nothing to talk about. Meanwhile, Admiral Woo-sung stood on the bridge of his flagship as it moved through the Sol system. He was excited. Finally, he was doing something important. Finally, he was ending the galaxy's stupid fear of dead humans. Admiral, our sensors are detecting some unusual activity, said his science officer. What kind of activity? Energy buildups on several worlds. It looks like power systems coming online. Woo-sung laughed. Primitive power systems. Probably heating systems turning on because they detected our ships. Do not worry about it. Sir, these energy readings are very large. Larger than our main reactor. Impossible. Humans have been dead for thousands of years. What you are seeing is probably just old automatic systems. But even as Woo-sung spoke, he felt a small worry growing in his mind. The energy readings were very large. Too large for heating systems. Back on Mars, Captain Dong-woo watched his screens with growing amazement. All around the solar system, human bases were coming to life. Weapons platforms that had been hidden inside asteroids were moving into position. Ships were launching from secret bases on the moons of Jupiter and Saturn. Captain, I am getting a message from Earth Command, Bora said. The first squadron is ready to launch. Show me. The screen changed to show space near Earth. A group of ships was moving away from the planet. But these were not like the old human ships from the history books. These ships were sleek and fast. They seemed to bend light around themselves. How many ships in the first squadron? Dong-woo asked. Just 12, sir. Dong-woo looked at the alien fleet on another screen. 50 warships against 12 human ships. It did not seem like a fair fight. But as he watched the human ships move, he began to think maybe the aliens were the ones who should be worried. The human ships moved in ways that did not make sense. They seemed to disappear and reappear in different places. They move faster than anything should be able to move. Bora, are our sensors working correctly? Yes, sir. I have run diagnostics 3 times. Then how are those ships moving like that? I do not know, sir. It is like they are not following the normal rules of physics. Captain Jinsu commanded the lead ship of the first squadron. His ship was called the Retribution. It had been built in secret over many years, using technology that humans had developed during their long isolation. Weapons officer, target the lead alien ship, Jinsu ordered. Sir, we are still very far from them. Our weapons have good range, but not that good. Use the new targeting system. The one that does not care about distance. Yes, sir. Jinsu opened a communication channel that would reach not just the alien fleet, but every receiver in the galaxy. His message was simple and clear. Attention, alien vessels. You have entered human space without permission. You have broken treaties that have kept the galaxy safe for 3,000 years. You woke us up. Now you will face the consequences. This is your only warning." Admiral Wusung received the message on his ship. He laughed again, but this time his laugh did not sound as confident. "Send a reply," he ordered. "Tell them we are the Dominion fleet. Tell them humans have no authority here anymore." But before his communication officer could send the message, alarms started screaming on Wusung's ship. His weapons officer was shouting something about impossible energy readings. His navigation officer was reporting that human ships had appeared much closer than they should be able to move. For the first time since entering the Sol system, Admiral Wusung began to wonder if he had made a terrible mistake. Captain Heiwan stood on the bridge of her ship, the Thunder of Earth. She was leading the second squadron of human ships toward the alien fleet. Her ship was one of 50 vessels that had been built in secret during the long years of isolation. "Captain, the aliens are trying to run away," reported her weapons officer. Heiwan looked at the main screen. The Dominion fleet was turning around and moving back toward the edge of the solar system. But they were moving too slowly. Human ships were much faster. "They should have thought about running before they came here," Heiwan said. "All ships begin attack formation. Show them what 3,000 years of advancement looks like." On Luna Base, General So-Young watched the battle through her command center screens. She was in charge of all human military forces. For 30 years, she had been preparing for this day. She had hoped it would never come, but she was ready. "General, the first alien ship is in range," said her tactical officer. "Fire," So-Young ordered. The first human weapon hit Admiral Wusung's flagship, but it was not like any weapon the aliens had ever seen. The ship did not explode. Instead, it simply stopped working. Every system on the ship failed at the same time. The lights went out. The engines died. The weapons powered down. "What happened to our ship?" Wusung asked his crew, but his crew could not answer. They were as confused as he was. "Admiral, it is like all our technology just forgot how to work," said his science officer. On the human ship Retribution, Captain Jinsu smiled. "Target the next ship. Use the molecular disruptor." The second alien ship did not just stop working. It fell apart. The metal hull separated into individual atoms. In seconds, a massive warship became a cloud of dust floating in space. "All alien ships, this is your final warning," Jinsu broadcast. "Surrender now or be destroyed." Admiral Wusung tried to send a surrender message, but his communication system was dead. His ship was floating helplessly in space. Around him, other Dominion ships were suffering the same fate. Some stopped working. Others came apart. A few simply disappeared completely. The battle lasted 15 minutes. When it was over, the entire Dominion fleet was either destroyed or disabled. Not a single human ship had been damaged. General So-Young opened a communication channel to the Galactic Council. She knew they would be watching. She knew they would be scared. "Galactic Council, this is General So-Young of the Terran Defense Force. A Dominion fleet has invaded our space and attacked our worlds. We have responded according to the ancient treaties. Any species that supported this invasion will face the same consequences." On the council station, Ambassador Jiwoo watched the destruction of the Dominion fleet with horror. She remembered the old wars. She remembered what humans could do when they were angry. But even she had not expected this level of advancement. "Contact all member species," she ordered her staff. "Emergency session in 1 hour. Priority Alpha. Ambassador, what should we tell them?" "Tell them the humans are back. Tell them everything has changed." Dr. Young-Soo was working in his laboratory on Earth when the first alien technology arrived. Human ships had captured several Dominion vessels during the battle. Now he could study alien advancement firsthand. "This is interesting," he said to his assistant. "Their technology is exactly what we expected it would be." "What do you mean, Doctor?" "They have been advancing slowly for 3,000 years. Linear progression. Better materials, more efficient engines, stronger weapons, but nothing revolutionary." Dr. Young-Soo held up a piece of alien equipment. "While they were making their weapons 10% better each century, we were changing the rules of physics. They improved their shields. We learned to make matter stop existing. They built faster engines. We learned to fold space. So we are much more advanced than they are? Advanced is the wrong word. We are different. We evolved past their way of thinking about technology. They see the universe as something to work within. We see it as something to rewrite." Meanwhile, Ambassador Myung was preparing for her first contact with the Galactic Council in 3,000 years. She had been chosen to represent humanity because she understood diplomacy. But the diplomacy she practiced was not like the old ways. Counselor Jae-sung, thank you for agreeing to meet with us, Myung said as she entered the council chamber. Jae-sung was an old alien with purple skin and 6 arms. He had been on the council for 800 years. He remembered when humans were just another member species. Ambassador Myung, we need to discuss what happened in the Sol system. Of course, a Dominion fleet invaded our space. We defended ourselves. The matter is closed. Closed. You destroyed an entire fleet in minutes. You used weapons that should not exist. The galaxy is terrified, Myung sat down calmly. The galaxy should be terrified. For 3,000 years you promised to leave us alone. In exchange, we promised to leave you alone. The Dominion broke that promise. It was Admiral Wu Sung who broke the agreement. The Dominion government did not authorize his actions. The Dominion built his ships. The Dominion trained his crew. The Dominion gave him the authority to command a fleet. They are responsible for his actions. Jae-sung felt sweat forming on his purple skin. What do you want from us? Complete surrender of the Dominion leadership, reparations for the invasion, and new agreements that make sure this never happens again. You cannot demand the surrender of an entire government. The Dominion has billions of citizens. The Dominion citizens can choose new leaders, leaders who understand the rules. And if we refuse? Myung smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. Counselor, your people are not stupid. You have seen what we did to one fleet. Do you really want to see what we can do to entire worlds? On the Dominion homeworld, panic was spreading through the capital city. News of the fleet's destruction had reached the government within hours of the battle. Prime Minister Kolthek was meeting with his military advisors. How is this possible, he asked. Admiral Wu Sung had our best ships and our best crews. Prime Minister, the humans have technology we do not understand, said General Morvan. Our scientists are studying the battle recordings. The human weapons work in ways that violate known physics. What are you saying? I am saying the humans are not just more advanced than us. They are more advanced than anyone thought possible. They have learned to manipulate the basic forces of reality. So what do? We surrender, immediately, before they decide to come here. But it was too late for surrender. Captain Yeonsu was already leading a human fleet toward the Dominion home system. Her orders were simple: occupy the planet and arrest the leadership. The Dominion had the largest military in the galaxy. Their home system was protected by thousands of defense platforms and hundreds of warships. It was considered the most fortified location in known space. Captain Yeonsu's fleet consisted of 20 ships. Captain, the Dominion defense fleet is moving to intercept us, reported her tactical officer. How many ships? 347, Captain. Signal the fleet. Engage the reality anchors. Let us show them what real warfare looks like. The human ships activated devices that changed the laws of physics in the space around them. Suddenly, the Dominion weapons stopped working. Their engines failed. Their shields collapsed. Dominion fleet, this is Captain Yeonsu. Your weapons cannot function in our presence. Your shields cannot protect you. Surrender now and your crews will be treated well. Within minutes, the entire Dominion defense fleet had surrendered. The most powerful military force in the galaxy had been defeated without firing a single shot. Prime Minister Kolthek watched from his office as human ships entered orbit around his world. He knew his government was finished. He knew his species would now live under human rule. Send a message to the human fleet, he told his communication officer. Tell them we surrender unconditionally. But Captain Yeonsu was not interested in surrender. She was interested in justice. Her ships began landing on the Dominion homeworld. Human soldiers, equipped with technology that made them nearly impossible to stop, began arresting government officials. General So Young received reports from across the galaxy. Human fleets were moving toward every world that had supported the Dominion. Species that had been allies of Admiral Wu Sung were finding human ships in their space. The message was clear. The humans had returned to the galaxy. And this time they were not just participants. They were in charge. The galaxy that had lived in peace for 3,000 years was about to learn what it meant to live under human authority. And as the old saying went, when humans took charge of something, they never gave it back. 2 months after the Dominion surrender, Captain Namwu walked through the streets of Kethvar, the former Dominion capital. The city looked normal from a distance, but everything had changed. Human soldiers stood at every important building. Human technology monitored every conversation. "Captain, the local administrators are waiting for you," said Lieutenant Dal Ho. Nam Wu nodded. He was not here as a conqueror. He was here as an administrator of justice. The humans had learned from their ancient mistakes. This time they would not just defeat their enemies. They would fix them. In the government building, former Dominion officials sat around a large table. They looked nervous and scared. Prime Minister Koltek was among them, but he was no longer in charge of anything. "Citizens of the former Dominion," Nam Wu began, "your government broke the most sacred law in the galaxy. They invaded human space and threatened human lives. For this crime, your entire civilization must pay." "Captain, we understand that we must face consequences," said Kolthek. "But our people are innocent. Most of them did not even know about Admiral Wusung's plan. Your people elected leaders who made this choice. Your people built the ships that invaded our system. Your people created the culture that thought humans were weak." Nam Wu walked around the table. "Individual innocence does not erase collective responsibility. What do you plan to do with us?" "We plan to make you better." On the planet Velthar, Colonel Inho was establishing what humans called a correction zone. The Velthari had provided fuel and supplies to Admiral Wusung's fleet. Now they would learn what that support had cost them. "Colonel, the Velthari leadership is asking for a meeting," said his aide. "Tell them I will meet with them when I am ready. First, we have work to do." Inho was standing in front of a massive construction project. Human machines were building a new kind of facility. It looked like a school, but it was much more than that. The Advancement Center would house 1,000 Velthari citizens at a time. They would live there for 1 year, learning new ways of thinking. They would study human history, human science, and human philosophy. When they graduated, they would return to their communities as teachers. "Sir, is this not just a prison?" asked Lieutenant Sujin. "A prison holds people to punish them. This facility holds people to improve them. There is a difference. But they are being forced to come here." "Yes, because they would not choose to improve themselves voluntarily. The Velthari culture produces individuals who support unprovoked invasions. That culture must change." Inho looked at the construction site. "In 50 years, the Velthari will thank us for this. Their children will live in a better society because we forced their parents to learn better ways." Director Bo Young was working in the new Galactic Communication Center on Earth. Every message sent between worlds now passed through human systems. The galaxy's old communication networks had been replaced with human technology. "Director, we are intercepting some interesting conversations," said her analysis chief. "What kind of conversations?" "Several species are discussing resistance to human authority. They are trying to organize secretly." Bo Young smiled. "Do they not understand that there are no secrets anymore? Every word they speak, every message they send, every thought they share across space passes through our systems. Should we arrest them? No, let them plan. Let them organize. Let them think they can hide from us. When they try to act, we will be ready. And their failure will teach the galaxy another lesson about human capabilities." On Earth, President Chan Wu was addressing the human population for the first time since the awakening. Billions of humans watched as their leader explained what had happened and what would happen next. "My fellow humans, for 3,000 years we chose isolation. We chose peace. We chose to leave the galaxy alone. We hoped the galaxy would learn to govern itself wisely." Chan Wu paused. "We were wrong. The galaxy has proven that it cannot be trusted with freedom. Species still make war. Governments still choose aggression over diplomacy. Admiral Wusung's invasion proves that the galaxy has learned nothing from our absence. Therefore, we will no longer remain isolated. We will take responsibility for galactic civilization. We will guide the development of every species. We will ensure that wars like the one 3,000 years ago never happen again. This is not conquest. This is cultivation. We are gardeners, and the galaxy is our garden. We will prune what is harmful and nurture what is beneficial." In the Outer Rim territories, Admiral Yunji was meeting with representatives from 12 different species. These worlds had been independent for thousands of years. Now they were learning what it meant to live under human administration. "Admiral, our species has had peaceful governments for over 2,000 years, said Ambassador Yiltak of the Zephyr worlds. "We never supported the Dominion. We never threatened anyone." "That is correct," Yunji replied. "Your species has been peaceful. But you have also been stagnant. Your technology has not advanced significantly in 1,000 years. Your society has not evolved. Your people live the same lives their ancestors lived centuries ago. Is that wrong? We are happy with our lives. Happiness without growth is not enough. The galaxy needs advancement. It needs progress. It needs evolution. Yunji showed them a holographic display. Your worlds will become development centers. Your people will learn new technologies. Your society will advance rapidly under human guidance. And if we refuse, refusal is not an option. You can cooperate and advance quickly or resist and advance slowly, but you will advance. The Galactic Council had officially dissolved itself rather than submit to human oversight, but some former council members continued to meet in secret. Former Ambassador Jiwoo was among them. "Friends, we must face reality," she told the small group. "The humans have returned and they are nothing like the species we remember." "They were always dangerous," said former Councillor Rickson. "But now they are something else entirely." "What do you mean?" "I mean they no longer think like other species. They do not want territory or resources or power. They want control over evolution itself." Former Trade Minister Kelvon spoke up. "My intelligence sources say the humans are planning something called the Deep Time Project. They want to guide galactic development for millions of years." "That is impossible." "No species thinks that far ahead." "Humans do. They see the galaxy as a single system that needs management. They see themselves as the only species capable of that management." Jiwoo felt a chill. "Then we are not dealing with conquerors. We are dealing with gardeners who see us as plants to be cultivated." Meanwhile, the Free Worlds Coalition was forming in secret. General Tae-sung, a former council military officer, was trying to organize resistance to human rule. "We have ships hidden in 12 different systems," he told his co-conspirators. "We have weapons caches on 30 worlds. We have supporters among 15 different species. Is it enough?" asked Commander Yin-ho. "It has to be enough. The humans may be advanced, but they are still just one species. We are many species working together." But even as General Tae-sung spoke, Commodore Ye-jin was preparing human forces to end the rebellion before it could begin. Human intelligence had been tracking every resistance movement from the start. "Commodore, we have identified all resistance cells," reported her intelligence officer. "We know their locations, their leaders, their plans, and their resources. How long do you estimate their rebellion will last once it begins?" "Based on our analysis, approximately 17 hours from start to finish." "That seems like a long time. Can we reduce it?" "We could end it in 3 hours, but the galaxy needs to see a demonstration. Let them fight for 17 hours. Let them think they have a chance. Then let them see how completely they fail." The rebellion began on a Tuesday. General Tae-sung's forces attacked human facilities in 12 systems simultaneously. For the first few hours, it seemed like they might have some success, but the humans had been waiting. As soon as the attacks began, human ships appeared in every rebel system. The weapons General Tae-sung thought were hidden turned out to be under human surveillance. The allies he thought were secret had been feeding information to human intelligence. 17 hours and 23 minutes after it began, the Free Worlds Coalition surrendered. General Tae-sung was captured alive, along with most of his officers. Their failed rebellion became an object lesson for the rest of the galaxy. The message was clear. Resistance was not just futile, it was impossible. The humans knew everything, controlled everything, and could stop anything. After the rebellion failed, even the most stubborn species began to accept human authority. The galaxy was learning to live under a new kind of rule. Not the rule of conquerors, but the rule of gardeners who saw every world, every species, and every individual as something to be cultivated and improved. The old galaxy was dead. The new galaxy belonged to humanity. 5 years had passed since Admiral Woo-sung made his fatal mistake. Governor Hyun-woo stood on the observation deck of his administration station, looking down at the planet Velthar. The world looked very different from when he had first arrived. The old cities had been rebuilt with human technology. Transportation networks moved people efficiently between work centers and living areas. Education facilities taught both children and adults new ways of thinking. The planet was prosperous and peaceful. "Governor, the monthly reports are ready," said his aide, Lieutenant Sang-ho. Hyun-woo reviewed the data on his tablet. Food production was up 30%. Disease rates had dropped to almost zero. Crime was practically non-existent. Educational achievement scores showed rapid improvement. The Velthari are adapting well, he said. Their children are learning faster than we expected. What about the adults, Governor? Slower, but still progressing. The generation that supported Admiral Wu Sung is having trouble accepting new ideas, but their children understand that human guidance makes their lives better. On Earth, Dr. Sung-Ah was working in the Species Evaluation Center. Her job was to study every intelligent species in human space and determine their potential for advancement. Some species could be rapidly improved. Others needed longer guidance periods. Doctor, we have completed the analysis of the Thornian species, said her research assistant. Dr. Sung-Ah looked at the data. The Thornians were a primitive species from the Outer Rim. They had just discovered space travel when humans found them. Intelligence rating? High potential. They learn quickly and adapt well to new situations. Cultural development? Primitive but flexible. They do not have strong traditions that would resist change. Recommended development path? Direct integration. We estimate they can reach human standards within 2 generations. Dr. Sung-Ah made her decision. Approved. Begin the advancement program immediately. This was how human civilization worked now. Every species was evaluated, cataloged, and given a development path. Those with high potential received rapid advancement. Those with low potential received longer guidance periods. Those with no potential were relocated to preserve worlds where they could live naturally. Captain Yan Ho commanded the exploration ship New Horizon. His mission was to explore beyond the old galactic boundaries and find new species to guide. Under human leadership, space exploration had become much more ambitious. Captain, we are detecting artificial signals from the next star system, reported his science officer. Another intelligent species? Yes, sir. The signals suggest they have achieved interstellar communication but not faster than light travel. Standard first contact protocol. Send them a message in their own language. Let them know they are about to join galactic civilization. This was the new pattern. Humans found species and brought them into the galactic community whether they wanted to join or not. Every species needed guidance. Every species could be improved. The old idea of letting species develop naturally was considered wasteful and cruel. Why let a species struggle for thousands of years when human guidance could help them advance in decades? But not everyone accepted human authority easily. Former Consul General Tae-sung had been working in the Rehabilitation Center on Luna for 3 years. He was considered a success story by human standards. General, your attitude scores have improved significantly, said Dr. Wansik, his counselor. Thank you, Doctor. I have learned to appreciate human methods. Do you still believe resistance to human authority is justified? Tae-sung was quiet for a moment. He had learned to give the answers humans wanted to hear. No, Doctor. I understand now that human guidance benefits all species. Excellent. You may be ready for release soon. But in his private thoughts, Tae-sung still believed humans had no right to control the galaxy. He had learned to hide these thoughts, but he had not forgotten them. Someday, somehow, the galaxy would be free again. Commodore Ye-jin knew about General Tae-sung's hidden thoughts. Human technology could read minds if necessary, but they allowed him to keep his private resistance because it served a purpose. Let him think he is fooling us, she told her staff. When he is released, he will try to organize new resistance movements. We will track everyone he contacts. His rebellion will lead us to other hidden resistors. Is that not cruel, Commodore? It is efficient. We could arrest all potential resistors now, but then new ones would appear later. Better to let them reveal themselves through their own actions. This was how humans managed galactic civilization. They did not just control what people did. They controlled what people thought. They allowed resistance to exist so they could study it and eliminate it completely. Dr. Minsu was working on the Consciousness Integration Project. His goal was to help alien species think more like humans, not to make them human, but to help them understand human logic and efficiency. The process is working well with younger subjects, he reported to Director Subin. Children who complete the program show significant improvement in problem solving and social cooperation. What about adults? More difficult. Adult minds are less flexible, but we are making progress. How long until we can process entire populations? With current technology, about 50 years per species. But we are developing faster methods, Director Subin nodded. The Consciousness Integration Project was one of humanity's most important initiatives. A galaxy full of species that thought like humans would be much easier to manage. On the planet Kethvar, Ambassador He Young was preparing for humanity's first contact with extragalactic visitors. Radio telescopes had detected signals from the Andromeda Galaxy. Another galactic civilization was trying to communicate. "Ambassador, we have decoded their message," said her communications specialist. "What do they want?" "They are asking about the changes they have detected in our galaxy. They want to know why energy patterns have shifted so dramatically." "What should we tell them?" "The truth. Our galaxy is now under human management. If they want to visit, they must follow human protocols." He Young composed her response carefully. The message would take millions of years to reach Andromeda, but it would establish humanity's position as the authority in local space. "People of Andromeda," she began, "our galaxy has evolved beyond its primitive state. We are humanity, and we guide the development of all local species. If you wish to make contact, you must demonstrate that your civilization meets our standards for interstellar relationships." The message was polite but firm. Humanity would deal with other galactic civilizations as equals, but only if they proved themselves worthy. Dr. Ju Wan was working on humanity's most ambitious project yet. The reality manipulation program aimed to give humans complete control over the laws of physics. Early tests had been successful. "Doctor, the prototype vessel is ready for testing," said his engineering team leader. Dr. Ju Wan looked at the ship through the laboratory window. It did not look like much, but it represented the future of human technology. This ship could change the fundamental forces of nature within a limited area. "Begin the test. Let us see if we can make gravity work backwards." The test was successful. Within the ship's influence field, objects fell upward instead of downward. Water flowed from low places to high places. Energy moved from cold objects to hot objects. "Excellent," Dr. Ju Wan said. "Begin construction of the full-scale vessels. Soon we will be able to rewrite physics anywhere in the galaxy." This was humanity's ultimate goal: complete control over reality itself. Not just managing species and planets, but managing the fundamental forces that governed existence. The old galaxy had followed natural laws. The new galaxy would follow human laws. Admiral Wu Sung still lived on his garden world writing his memoirs. Human guards watched him, but they were polite and respectful. He was treated well because he served an important purpose. Chapter 15 he dictated to his recording device. "The day I decided to enter human space." He paused, thinking about that decision. At the time, it had seemed so reasonable. Humans had been quiet for 3,000 years. They were probably dead or weak. The galaxy was being held back by old fears and superstitions. How wrong he had been. "I thought I was being brave," he continued. "I thought I was freeing the galaxy from ancient restrictions. Instead, I woke up the most dangerous species in existence. I gave them a reason to leave their isolation and take control of everything." His memoirs would be distributed throughout the galaxy as a warning. Every species would read about Admiral Wu Sung's mistake. Every leader would understand the consequences of challenging human authority. "If anyone reads this in the future," he concluded, "remember that the galaxy once had freedom. Remember that species once governed themselves. Remember that this ended because one foolish admiral thought humans were weak. Remember that some sleeping giants should never be awakened." The chapter ended, but Admiral Wu Sung's story had become the galaxy's story. His mistake had changed everything. His decision to break the ancient rule had given humanity control over the cosmos, and as the humans often said, they never gave back anything they had taken control of. 10 years after the awakening, Marshal Sung Ho stood in the central command center of the Galactic Management Complex. The massive facility orbited Earth and served as the brain of human civilization. From here, humans monitored and guided every aspect of galactic life. "Marshal, the quarterly advancement reports are complete," said his chief administrator. Sung Ho reviewed the data on his screens. Every species in the galaxy was progressing according to human plans. Some were advancing rapidly, others needed more time. But all were moving toward the same goal, a galaxy that thought and acted efficiently. "The Velthari have exceeded expectations again," he noted. "Their technological development is ahead of schedule." "Yes, sir. Their children are particularly adaptable. We estimate they will reach full integration status within 15 years. "Excellent. What about the problem species?" "The Cronan Empire is still resisting cultural modifications. They maintain traditional hierarchies that conflict with efficient governance. reduce their resource allocations until they comply. They will change their minds when their standard of living drops. This was how humans managed the galaxy now. Every species received exactly what they needed to survive and advance, nothing more. Those who cooperated received better living conditions. Those who resisted received basic sustenance until they learned to follow human guidance. Ambassador He Young was in the middle of humanity's most important diplomatic mission ever. Representatives from the Andromeda Galaxy had finally arrived after decades of communication. Their ship was unlike anything in the local galaxy. Ambassador, the Andromedans are requesting permission to enter the Sol system, said her communications officer. Have they completed the civilization assessment tests? Yes, Ambassador. Their scores are impressive. They appear to have developed technologies similar to our own. He Young was curious. For the first time since awakening, humanity was meeting another species that might be their equals. The Andromedans had spent millions of years developing their civilization. Their technology was different from human technology, but equally advanced. Grant them permission, but maintain full defensive preparations. The Andromedan ship entered the Sol system slowly and peacefully. It was beautiful, looking more like a piece of art than a machine. As it approached Earth, it sent a simple message. We greet our cousin gardeners. He Young smiled. The Andromedans understood. They too had learned to guide and cultivate their galaxy. They too had accepted responsibility for cosmic civilization. Welcome to the local group, she replied. We have much to discuss. On Earth, Dr. Minsu was completing his greatest work. The Consciousness Integration Project had evolved into something much more ambitious. He was no longer just helping aliens think like humans. He was creating a unified galactic consciousness. Doctor, the network is ready for the final test, said his lead technician. Dr. Minsu looked at the massive array of quantum processors that filled the underground facility. Each processor was connected to communication networks that reached every world in human space. When activated, the network would link every mind in the galaxy. Begin the test. Connect 1,000 volunteers from different species. The test was successful. For the first time in galactic history, beings from different worlds and different species shared thoughts directly. A human on Earth could experience the memories of a Velthari child on their homeworld. A reformed Dominion citizen could share emotions with a Cronin artist. Doctor, the volunteers report no negative effects. They say the experience is remarkable. Excellent. Begin planning for full galactic implementation. Within a generation, every intelligent being in the galaxy will be connected to the network. This was humanity's ultimate goal, not just to control other species, but to unite them, to create a galactic civilization where every mind could communicate with every other mind, where knowledge and experience could be shared instantly across space. Captain Juwan was testing humanity's newest achievement. His ship, the Reality Forge, could rewrite the laws of physics across entire star systems. The vessel did not just use advanced technology, it had become advanced technology. Captain, we are ready to begin the stellar engineering test, said his science officer. Juwan looked at the star system they had chosen for the experiment. It contained 7 planets, but only 2 were suitable for life. The test would change that. Activate the reality modifiers. Let us see if we can make all 7 planets habitable. The Reality Forge began its work. Gravity fields shifted around the planets. Atmospheric compositions changed. Solar radiation was redirected and filtered. Within hours, all 7 worlds had breathable atmospheres and comfortable temperatures. Test successful, Captain. All 7 planets now support human standard life. Excellent. Begin the colonization planning. This system will house 1 billion beings from various species. This was how humans were reshaping the galaxy, not just managing existing worlds, but creating new ones. Not just working within natural laws, but rewriting those laws to serve their purposes. Director Sujin was working on humanity's most ambitious project ever. The Deep Time Initiative would guide galactic development for millions of years into the future. Every decision made today would influence the galaxy's evolution for geological ages. Director, the simulation models are complete, said her research team leader. Sujin studied the holographic display that showed the galaxy's future development. Different colored streams represented different species and their evolutionary paths. Under human guidance, every species would reach its maximum potential. Show me the million-year projection. The display changed to show the galaxy far in the future. Thousands of species had advanced to levels that would seem miraculous today. Some had become beings of pure energy. Others had learned to exist in multiple dimensions. All had been guided by human wisdom. What about the 10-million-year projection? Even more remarkable, Director. Several species will have evolved beyond physical existence entirely. They will become living thoughts that can reshape reality through pure consciousness. And humanity's role in that future? Unchanged, Director. Humans will still be the gardeners, still be the guides. The galaxy will always need shepherds. Admiral Wu Sung finished the last chapter of his memoirs on his garden world. 10 years of writing had given him time to understand the true scope of his mistake. He had not just woken up a sleeping species. He had triggered the transformation of galactic civilization itself. Final entry. He spoke to his recording device. I have lived to see the galaxy become something I never imagined. Under human guidance, wars have ended. Poverty has disappeared. Disease has been eliminated. Every species is advancing rapidly toward their maximum potential. He paused, looking out his window at the beautiful landscape humans had created for him. Even in exile, his life was better than it had ever been under Dominion rule. But I must ask myself, was this outcome worth the price? We gave up our freedom to gain security and advancement. We traded self-determination for efficiency and progress. The humans say they are gardeners, not conquerors. They say they guide us for our own benefit. After 10 years of observation, I believe they are telling the truth. They do not seek to harm us. They seek to improve us. Yet I wonder what we have lost. The galaxy once contained thousands of different ways of thinking, different approaches to life, different dreams and goals. Now we are all moving toward the same destination, following the same path. Perhaps this is better. Perhaps the old galaxy was too chaotic, too wasteful, too prone to conflict. Perhaps humanity's way is the only way that leads to true peace and prosperity. But sometimes, in my quiet moments, I remember what it felt like to make my own choices. Even the choice to invade human space was my choice to make. Even the choice that doomed my species was made freely. I broke the rule that kept the galaxy safe from human intervention. I woke up the guardians who had chosen to sleep. Now the cosmos trembles not with fear, but with the vibrations of rapid advancement and universal progress. History will judge whether my mistake was a catastrophe or a blessing. I suspect it was both. On Luna Base, former General Tae Sung was being prepared for release from the rehabilitation center. Dr. Won-sik conducted his final evaluation. General, you have made remarkable progress. Your attitude scores are now within acceptable ranges. Thank you, Doctor. I have learned much during my time here. Do you still harbor any resistance to human authority? Tae Sung had learned to control his facial expressions. No, Doctor. I understand that human guidance benefits all species. I want to contribute to galactic progress. Excellent. You will be assigned to the Colonial Administration Service. Your military experience will be valuable in helping newly discovered species integrate into galactic civilization. After the evaluation, Tai Sung was taken to a transport ship. As he traveled to his new assignment, he thought about his plans. Humans believed they had reformed him, but they were wrong. He still believed in freedom. He still believed species should govern themselves, but he had learned patience. He would work within the human system for now. He would gain their trust. He would study their methods and find their weaknesses. Someday, somehow he would find a way to restore freedom to the galaxy. What Taesung did not know was that Commodore Ye Jin was monitoring his thoughts. Through devices implanted during his rehabilitation, she could read his plans as clearly as if he had spoken them aloud. Maintain surveillance on Subject Taesung, she ordered her intelligence team. Allow him to develop his resistance network. When he has contacted all potential rebels, we will eliminate the entire movement at once. Commodore, is it not easier to simply keep him in rehabilitation? No. If we imprison all resistors, new ones will emerge. Better to let them reveal themselves through their own actions. Then we can address the root causes of resistance rather than just the symptoms. This was the genius of human administration. They did not just control behavior. They controlled the thoughts that led to behavior. They allowed resistance to exist so they could study it, understand it, and eliminate it completely. The Andromedans had been on Earth for 6 months when they made their most important discovery. Ambassador Tel Nara was meeting with Ambassador He Young in the diplomatic center. Your species has achieved something remarkable, Tel Nara said. You have created unity without uniformity. Every species maintains its unique characteristics while working toward common goals. Thank you. It has taken considerable effort to balance individual identity with collective purpose. We would like to propose a partnership. Our galaxies could benefit from shared management techniques. The universe contains billions of galaxies, each with its own civilizations. Together, we could guide cosmic development on an unprecedented scale. He Young considered the proposal. Humanity had always focused on their own galaxy, but perhaps it was time to think bigger. Perhaps the universe itself needed gardeners. We are interested. What do you propose? A joint exploration program. We survey nearby galaxies together. We identify civilizations that need guidance. We share the responsibility of cosmic management. I will present your proposal to our leadership. If approved, humanity would be honored to work with Andromeda in shepherding universal civilization. Dr. Juwan was conducting the final test of humanity's reality manipulation technology. His ship, the Reality Forge, was approaching a dying star that threatened to destroy an inhabited system. "Captain, we are in position," said his engineering officer. "Begin the stellar restoration process." The Reality Forge activated its most advanced systems. Within the ship's influence field, the laws of physics became suggestions rather than absolutes. Nuclear fusion rates decreased. Stellar pressure stabilized. The dying star began to rejuvenate. "Test successful, Captain. The star's lifespan has been extended by 10 million years. Excellent. This system's inhabitants will have time to evolve and advance under human guidance." This was the ultimate expression of human power. They had not just mastered technology. They had transcended it. They could rewrite reality itself to serve their vision of cosmic progress. Director Sujin activated the Deep Time Initiative from her command center on Earth. The project would monitor and guide galactic development for millions of years. Automated systems would make adjustments to ensure optimal progress even after current human leaders had died. "System activation complete," reported her technical staff. "All monitoring stations are online. Predictive algorithms are running. The Deep Time Initiative is now operational." Sujin looked at the massive display showing the galaxy's future development paths. Every decision made today would influence civilization for geological ages. Humanity had accepted responsibility, not just for current species, but for species that had not yet evolved. Begin implementation of Phase 1. All inhabited systems will receive development guidance tailored to their specific evolutionary timeline. Director, some species may not evolve as predicted. What if our projections are wrong? Then we will adapt our methods. The goal is not to force species into predetermined paths. The goal is to ensure they reach their maximum potential, whatever that might be. The Deep Time Initiative represented humanity's ultimate commitment to cosmic gardening. They would guide the galaxy's development across millions of years, ensuring that every species had the opportunity to become everything they could become. In his final report, Admiral Wusong wrote the words that would become famous throughout galactic history. "I broke the sole rule that kept the galaxy safe: never rouse the humans. Now the cosmos trembles not with fear, but with the sound of universal advancement. I woke up the gardeners and they have made the galaxy bloom. Future generations will live in a universe shaped by human wisdom. They will know peace, prosperity, and purpose. They will reach heights of achievement that would have been impossible under the old chaotic system. My mistake became the galaxy's salvation. I regret the loss of freedom, but I cannot regret the gain in progress. The humans were right to isolate themselves 3,000 years ago. The galaxy was not ready for their guidance. But my invasion forced them to return, and now we are all better for it. History will remember me as the admiral who broke the galaxy's most sacred rule. But perhaps history will also remember me as the admiral who gave the galaxy its greatest gift: the return of humanity to guide us all toward a better future." They had asked for peace and quiet. Instead, they were given the responsibility to ensure the galaxy never again made such a foolish request. And in accepting that responsibility, they transformed the cosmos itself. The story of Admiral Wusong's mistake had become the story of galactic transformation. His decision to wake the sleeping giants had changed everything. The universe would never be the same. Humanity had returned to their role as cosmic gardeners. And as they had proven throughout history, when humans took responsibility for something, they never gave it back. The eternal vigil had begun. 25 years after Admiral Wusong's fatal decision, Fleet Commander Hyomin stood on the bridge of humanity's newest ship, the Cosmos Walker. This vessel was unlike anything that had come before. It did not travel through space. It traveled through reality itself, moving between galaxies as easily as walking between rooms. "Commander, we have completed our survey of the Triangulum Galaxy," reported her science officer. "We have identified 47 intelligent species requiring guidance. What is their development level?" "Primitive to moderate. The most advanced species has achieved faster than light travel, but their weapons technology is still based on matter manipulation rather than reality modification." Hyo-Min nodded. Another galaxy full of species that needed human guidance. The universe was vast, but humanity was patient. They would shepherd every civilization toward its maximum potential. "Begin standard integration protocols. Send diplomatic teams to the most advanced species first. They will help us guide the others." This was how humanity operated now. They did not conquer galaxies. They recruited them. Advanced species were offered partnership in cosmic management. Primitive species were guided toward advancement. All were brought into the growing network of human-shepherded civilization. On Earth, Director Sang-woo was overseeing the Universal Consciousness Project. Dr. Min-soo's galactic network had been so successful that humanity decided to expand it beyond their home galaxy. Soon, every intelligent being in the local group would be connected. "Director, the Andromedan nodes are fully integrated," reported his technical chief. "We now have real-time consciousness sharing between our galaxy and theirs." "Excellent. What about the smaller galaxies?" "Triangulum and the Magellanic Clouds are 70% complete. We estimate full integration within 5 years. Sang-woo looked at the holographic display showing the growing network. Billions of minds across multiple galaxies were now connected, sharing knowledge and experience instantly. A human child on Earth could access the memories of an Andromedan elder. A reformed Dominion scientist could share discoveries with researchers across the universe. Begin preparations for the next phase. Expand the network to include non-intelligent species as well. Director, are you suggesting we connect animal minds to the network? Not just animals. Plants, ecosystems, even geological formations. If we are to be true gardeners of the universe, we must understand every component of cosmic life. The Universal Consciousness Project represented humanity's most ambitious goal. Not just unity between intelligent species, but unity with all existence. A universe where every mind, every life form, every natural system was connected and coordinated. Captain Taeho was leading humanity's first expedition to the Virgo cluster, a collection of over 1,000 galaxies. His ship, the Reality Weaver, could manipulate space-time itself, allowing near instantaneous travel across cosmic distances. "Captain, we are detecting massive energy signatures from the central galaxy," said his science officer. "What kind of energy?" "Unlike anything in our databases. It appears to be a civilization that has learned to convert matter directly into consciousness." Taeho was intrigued. For the first time since awakening, humanity had found a species that might be more advanced than themselves. The beings in the central galaxy had apparently evolved beyond physical existence entirely. "Open a communication channel. Let us introduce ourselves to our cosmic cousins." The response came instantly, transmitted directly into their minds rather than through their communication systems. "We greet the young gardeners from the Spiral Arm. We have watched your growth with interest. You have been..." "Director, all systems are operational," reported her staff. "The galaxy will continue advancing according to optimal timelines even if humanity disappears entirely." "Excellent. But humanity will not disappear. We will evolve alongside the species we guide. In 1,000,000 years we may be unrecognizable, but we will still be gardeners." "What about the universe beyond our galaxy?" "Other human expeditions are establishing similar systems throughout the local group. Eventually, the entire universe will operate under principles of guided development." "How long will that take?" "Billions of years, but we have learned patience. We have learned to think in cosmic timescales. The universe will be completely cultivated eventually." In his final memoir entry, Admiral Wusong wrote the words that would be remembered for eternity. "I lived to see the beginning of universal transformation. What started as a simple military operation became the catalyst for cosmic evolution itself. Humanity has fulfilled their destiny as gardeners of existence. Under their guidance, the universe has become a place of purpose rather than chaos, progress rather than stagnation, unity rather than conflict. I broke the sole rule that protected the galaxy from human intervention. In doing so, I gave the universe its greatest gift, shepherds who would guide all existence toward its maximum potential. The cosmos no longer trembles with random forces and accidental developments. It resonates with the harmonious vibrations of guided evolution and purposeful advancement. Future beings will live in a universe shaped by wisdom rather than chance. They will know their place in the cosmic garden and their role in the eternal cultivation of existence itself. I woke up the gardeners. Now the entire universe blooms under their care. This is my legacy, the transformation of chaos into purpose, of accident into intention, of random existence into cultivated reality. They had asked for peace and quiet. Instead, they accepted the infinite responsibility of caring for all existence. And in accepting that responsibility, they transformed the universe itself into a garden of infinite possibility. The story that began with one admiral's mistake had become the story of universal transformation. Humanity had awakened not just to galactic responsibility, but to cosmic destiny. The eternal vigil had expanded beyond galaxies, beyond the local group, beyond anything previously imagined. Humanity would garden the universe itself, ensuring that every corner of existence reached its maximum potential. The rule had been broken. The cosmos had trembled, and from that trembling a new universe had been born.